Every year, a handful of amusement parks across the world announce a brand new roller coaster in hopes of bringing more guests through the gates. Sometimes, we know about these projects years in advance, but in other cases, we might not know until just a few months before their grand openings. Today, we're going to be looking at some parks that we know are getting coasters next year, some parks that are highly suspected to be getting coasters, some parks that might be getting coasters, and a few wildcard guesses based on current information that we know. This video will be mainly North America focused, mainly because it's pretty hard to speculate for parks across the world, but there are some projects that we do know are happening overseas. So if you'd like to see an in-depth video on coasters coming overseas, make sure to let me know down in the comments below. If you want to learn about some coasters opening up this year, make sure to check out these videos covering the US and this video covering the best coasters coming internationally this year. If you enjoy hearing me talk about new coasters, make sure to give this video a like to show your support for what I'm doing. Also, make sure to subscribe for more awesome content on new coasters coming soon. Now with that said, let's talk about some roller coasters that are confirmed to be opening next year. One of the first coasters that was announced for next year is the first modern thrill coaster from Vekoma to come to the US in Circuit Breaker. Kodoland just made this announcement after announcing Palindrome for the same park for this season, which is another thrill coaster. This park is rapidly building up their ride lineup, and if you didn't want to come to this park already, you'll surely want to come now. This coaster is going to be a tilt coaster with a full layout, which is something us Americans haven't seen before. The main draw for this coaster will probably be the tilt track, as it's something that's hardly ever been seen around the world, but the supporting layout looks really good as well and features 4 inversions. From the outside looking in, it looks like this ride could be an early contender for the best new coaster for 2023 in the US. SeaWorld Orlando is yet another park getting their second new coaster in just as many years with their new surf coaster project from B&M. This coaster is said to be an all-new model from the company, which should greatly increase the intrigue surrounding this coaster. We don't exactly know what we're dealing with, but there's been rumors of the trains being 2 across, the coaster featuring a launch, having stand-up trains, and even an inversion or 2 being featured on the ride. We still don't know much about this ride for sure, but the track is on site and construction is underway, so we'll have to wait and see what this ride looks like. Dollywood is supposed to be getting an expansion to their Wildwood Grove section of the park that will include a new roller coaster. This coaster was described to be a multi-generational coaster, which indicates that we could be getting a family thrill coaster here. We have seen the layout and plan submitted to the Pigeon Forge Planning Commission, and from what we can tell, this coaster appears to be a launch coaster, but beyond that we don't know too much. However, given Dollywood's track record with family coasters, such as Fire Chaser Express, this ride will probably be a very well-rounded attraction that will please guests of all ages. Moving on to our next category, we have our highly likely coasters. These are coasters we basically know are coming, we just haven't seen a whole lot of on-site progress, or they haven't been marked on RCDB yet, which is basically my official bar per se. The first coaster in this category is actually an indoor coaster that will be replacing Curse of Dark Castle. This ride will be an intimate family launch coaster, maybe even in some kind of motorbike form. This ride has been nicknamed Project Dark Coaster, so maybe we could see some theming for this ride as well, but given SeaWorld's track record within their 2022 attractions, I wouldn't expect much. This coaster is also said to go around the course twice, utilizing a switch track as well. But overall, this ride should be a solid family addition for the park and should expand upon Busch Gardens' already loaded launch coaster lineup. A similar coaster is coming in the same chain to SeaWorld San Diego allegedly. Plans have emerged for a new multi-launch coaster that is said to be a bit like Wavebreaker at SeaWorld San Antonio, only this ride will be a bit shorter. The ride will feature 3 launches and 2 90-degree bank turns that should be the highlights for this ride. This coaster is expected to be a family-friendly launch coaster that should be a good stepping stone coaster for the park. After just receiving Emperor, this coaster should be a great addition for this park. To round out all the projects going to the SeaWorld chain, I'd like to mention that there is expected to be a Flume ride heading to SeaWorld San Antonio in the next year or 2. This ride is expected to feature an airtime hill, an elevator lift, and multiple drops. I don't think many people will consider this a coaster if it is built, but I'm sure a handful of people will, so I thought I'd mention it. One coaster that we know will be opening sometime in the future is Primordial, which is said to be getting a name change coming to the lagoon. This will be some kind of dark ride coaster hybrid, potentially with some sort of shooting technology, similar to Wonder Mountain's Guardian at Canada's Wonderland. This project was delayed by the pandemic, but they have made a lot of progress through the last few years, and track has been installed for the coaster, including a lift hill. This coaster will probably feature a bunch of thematic elements, and it seems like it will be a story-driven attraction. It's hard to say whether this ride will open in 2023 or later on, but I do think this ride will be an awesome addition to Lagoon whenever it opens. Next, we'll be talking about some projects that have been talked about, but there isn't anything concrete about if or when these projects will take place. One of the most talked about projects this offseason was a potential Knott's Berry Farm Giga Coaster coming in 2023 or 2024. Unfortunately, this project appears to have been downsized to a small hybrid at this point, likely due to potential noise issues. It's hard for me to buy that this coaster will come in 2023 given the lack of construction thus far, but I think this ride being built in the future is somewhat likely. This would give Knott's a very solid coaster based on the hypothetical layouts we've seen, and a capacity monster for a park that always seems to be slammed. Recently, we've been seeing some more construction on the former site of Wicked Twister at Cedar Point, so this obviously means an RMC T-Rex. Alright, given this plot of land, it's actually hard to tell what we could be seeing here. I think a boardwalk themed area with a wooden coaster with a fresh new entrance could be something that we could see here. I think a nice family GCI or Gravity group would be absolutely perfect and would give the park another wooden coaster and family coaster in just one addition. I could also see a smaller steel coaster coming here as well, but regardless, I do think we will see a coaster somewhere in this area, especially since it's been 5 years since Cedar Point has gotten a coaster, which is like forever for them. I think it's a safe bet that Six Flags will add a coaster somewhere in the chain for this upcoming season. Even though Six Flags appears to be scaling back the quantity of their additions, that doesn't mean we won't see any new coasters in 2023. Six Flags has given Jersey Double clones to Great Adventure and Magic Mountain the past couple of years, so I think that Great America would be the next logical move for a Jersey Double clone. I would also like to think another B&M may come to the chain this upcoming season, but I don't know where it would go to. I also think V-Pair could be relocated to a park within the chain as well. No matter the location, I would bet Six Flags to install a new coaster somewhere in the chain for 2023. A park that's been getting a lot of buzz lately is Hershey Park surrounding Wildcat, their GCI wooden coaster. This coaster has been seen getting all kinds of work and action around it, indicating that there will be some kind of major refurbishment in 2023 or 2024. The leading rumor by default is that this coaster will be getting the RMC treatment, which would entail a complete redo of the layout. Another rumor is that GCI will come in and put their Titan track on the coaster. This could mean keeping the same layout with the new track or a redone layout. Either way, I think this will be considered a new coaster, and I think there's a very legit shot that this happens for 2023. Now, let's move on to some wild cards. These parks are more guesses at this point, but that is what makes a video like this fun. The first park I'm going to throw out there is Canada's Wonderland. Canada's Wonderland is the most visited seasonal park in the Cedar Fair chain, and there's no sign of it slowing down. I think this park is going to have to get a new coaster sooner or later to help with long lines that amount for all the big rides throughout the park. I would lean toward 2024 being the year this park gets a new coaster, but I think whatever we will see will be high capacity, like a B&M wing coaster or invert. An RMC conversion of one of their old wooden coasters seems like a possibility as well, even with the funky construction laws in Canada that could make it a challenge. I think it's only a matter of time before Wonderland gets a big new coaster. I think there's a shot that it could be in 2023. For the first time in over a decade, I think Worlds of Fun could be getting a new roller coaster. The park is preparing for its 50th anniversary, and they are said to be looking to bring back a modern version of either Orient Express or Zambezi Zinger. It's tough for me to think of a direct replacement for either of those coasters, but there's a couple things that I could think of. I think a modern Vekoma Looper could be fit replacing Orient Express, and maybe an RMC Raptor that is on the tamer side of things could be a replacement for Zambezi Zinger, given that they both technically have single file seating. Another ride that I think would fit well at this park would be a Gerstlauer Infinity Coaster, but that wouldn't really match up with the restoration of either ride. I do think Worlds of Fun will be getting something significant next year, given all the land clearing we've been seeing. The last two parks I have, I think, are complete shot in the dark predictions. The bigger of the two is Adventureland in Iowa. This park just got picked up by Palace Entertainment, and I think they will continue the trend of upsizing this park to keep it ahead of Lost Island. I think we will see either a Premier Rides launch coaster or an SNS launch coaster come to this park in 2023 or 2024. This park is one on the rise, and I think Palace realizes the potential for this park is very high, and they will continue to invest accordingly in the upcoming years. The biggest long shot that I have is Canopy Lake Park. Canopy just lost one of the park's largest attractions in the Canopy Corkscrew, and they will need something to fill that void. I would say that this park would be perfect for a new Gerstlauer, but they already have one. But I don't think that may stop them from investing in another coaster from Gerstlauer. I think there's a good chance we could see a Gerstlauer Infinity Coaster that has an incomplete circuit come to this park. I'm not sure why, but I just have a feeling that Gerstlauer will build another Infinity Coaster in the US next year. And Canopy needs a new star attraction, so it seems like a perfect fit. An RMC Raptor is something else I could see being a good fit as well for this park, but hopefully this place gets something to replace their Corkscrew. As the year progresses, we will likely see more announcements for new projects for the next year, and I'll be doing my best to cover them. So make sure to subscribe if you'd like to see that kind of thing. That said, what project are you most excited for this season, and who do you think will receive a new coaster next year? Make sure to tell me those thoughts down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, as that greatly helps us out against the YouTube algorithm. If you'd like to chat with other fans of the channel, make sure to join my Discord server, linked in the description down below. If you'd like to support me even more, go subscribe to my second channel, WNY and Beyond, where I post no copyright off-ride footage. With all that being said, I'd like to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.